overpowered defenders. I'm talking fullbacks, I'm talking center backs. I got you on some quick fire. What's happening, beautiful people? My name is LaBelle. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. As always, it's free to subscribe. We got the scarf out. New York Red Bulls playoff week versus Philly. Gonna be quite the atmosphere. If you can drop some love, we're gonna need that type of support. Playoff picture. And before we begin, if you want coaching, I'm talking group sessions. We got content creators, pro players, all encompassing. It's only $20 a month to get started. Gamers Academy, I'll leave that linked down below. Many of you ask me about spending additional time or giving you more of some 1v1 looks in terms of getting your FIFA ability right. I've got you covered. And this allows you to get a session with everybody in the same price point under one monthly sign up. This will improve your results. I always do my personal sessions on Mondays. Everything will be linked down below. Let me know if you have any questions. This video, we're talking all defenders. Criteria, relatively simple. Must be a defender. We're looking at overperformers. Keyword, overpowered, max 83 rating, and then no repeat selections. And I've decided to do 5 players in each position. We're looking at left backs, right backs, and center backs. And you're gonna let me know in the comments how you feel. Because there's so many names that fall into this category, there's no way that it's possible for us to agree if I'm only giving you 5 in each of the positions. Just sort of done on purpose. I like stirring the combo. Left backs. We're going to get started with Dest, the inform. I still see this man in rotations extremely fast. Quick feet, they always eat. And before you get in the comments saying 83 overall, why are you maxing us out? I make the video with no restrictions as well. It is uploaded. Meta, click on that. Best, click on that. If you have no price range restriction, no limitation, and not all of these guys will be cheap, but I'm saying if you don't have rating scenarios, you're not looking for any discount shopping or budget buys, or just filling in the blanks and so forth and so on. That video is also uploaded. It is not an either or. I give you both. So before you get in the comments talking about that restriction or that rule or that piece of criteria, just know I have uploaded a specific video for these positions that is solely about the best player available regardless of price point and regardless of rating. Straight performance based. Next on the docket, Jordan. I'm not talking about Michael. We're not looking at the last dance. This man is a dribbling machine. Also, of course, has the French link ups, 5-star weak foot, early bennies. That stands for benefits. And maybe he could teach you a little bit of that bonjour, s'il vous plaît. A few different phrases that you can take elsewhere. You can apply. And a big bonus here is not only the balance, but even the physical side. Not being tired, being able to bump side to side, push someone around, confrontations, supports it, does not shy away from a tackle, does not restrain. Spinazzola, one of my favorite defenders this year, period. And I might make that video. Are you guys ready for some of my favorite players? I can go through positions. It won't necessarily be based around rating or even performance, but guys that really have been expressive or impactful for my squad, my club. They're already on that club legend status, and Spinazzola is there. Overpowered from the early edition and still completely viable, completely usable. He's gonna get busy current market, and it costs you nothing, and you get a lot of easy link up play. Some of you will question right-footed left back. He can get the job done, or you can switch him in game. Play him as a right back if you need. And he has decent size if you wanted to do the whole center back move. I'm not necessarily recommending that. I don't feel as if fullbacks as center backs is necessary in FIFA 22. Of course, we've seen that in previous years, and people will start calling you a little bit of a rat. They're gonna be in your DMs. Splinter. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If you know, then you know. Alphonso Davies, the Canadian Dream. And boy, has Canada been a surprise if you're looking at World Cup qualifiers. He's a big portion, influence with their success. And I loved his upgraded foot item, if you can afford that, even though the work rates do get a little bit weird with Davies. He's just too athletically inclined with the skills and the weak foot and progressing attacks and chasing back. How could you not have him here? And at the top, not a surprise, Mendy, one of the best fullbacks in the game, period. Even though he's an 83, and you are gonna have to pay a bit of an upcharge or a surcharge because he's well known, he's recognized. This isn't his first rodeo or his first installment that he's been someone who's able to impact matches, able to lock up wingers, able to bounce back and dictate what's happening with those strikers. He's just a good matchup player. No if, and, or what's about it. Into the right backs. It just doesn't feel right if I don't mention him. Babu, I still see him and experience his impact, his overpowered nature. He's a man amongst the trees, organics. He's got that chase back, he's got the pace, he's got the speed, he's got the body type. Also a player that typically would be categorized as being a fullback to play as a center back. Haven't seen it nearly as much this year, but I'm not gonna sit here and act like it's not possible. If you're playing a 3 at the back, and Babu would be a solid option if you wanted to move him into one of those outside center back roles. On a similar trend, Joachim. This is one of those road to the knockout stages foot items with the little bump, the helper, the extra uplifting stats, positivity, Monday motivation, even though this is not being recorded on a Monday. And his price tag has gone up quite a bit. I don't know if I want to say significant, but he's no longer an absolute steal, shall we say. And similar to Mbabu, he is built more to be a center back than a fullback, but he's capable of playing both positions. I only say that because his physical is pretty solid, but you're looking at someone who's 6'1", 6'2". Once you get to a certain height and a certain framework, they no longer naturally, and by they, I'm talking about fullbacks, fit into the meta of that position where you have the side to side and the lateral movement. Typically speaking, they end up being a little more clunky, a little more stiff, which is completely fine. Just think of the Kyle Walkers of the world. Offensively, you lose some of the assets, and then even on some of the turning on the defensive end, it can get a little bit suspect. Cuadrado has to be here. I used him for the first month of this year's release. Amazing, expressive, easy on the eyes. He had the flair and the movement. And if you use your fullbacks as wingbacks, you need them for that attack. You need that additional progression. And this year, I've had plenty of, I don't want to say struggles, but challenges with attacking. Therefore, I need everyone on the pitch to be a viable option. Dangerous players making a difference. That sounds like something we should put on a shirt. But Cuadrado has every offensive characteristic, which makes sense. We've seen him convert from being a winger now to a wing back or a full back. It's all in the same realm of what you're going to see virtually as well as on the actual pitch. And I rate Cuadrado, and just his confidence on the ball to go with those skill moves provides a competitive advantage that many fullbacks do not offer. Youssef Atal! I just talked about him in a previous video. In fact, I can put Manafa on screen as well. Both of these guys are just two of the best in this position, period. Does not matter about rating. We're not looking at price point here. Whatever you got in your back pocket, whatever you can spend, however you can incorporate. I do think Manafa is slightly overpriced because of the Jesus or the Jesus link up play that was necessary. We saw some rarity and price ranges being adjusted, but I really enjoy using both of these players. They are dynamic and offer balance. You're no longer getting a one-dimensional player, and especially with Youssef Atal, if you like what he's got, we're one promo away from making the case or the argument that he'll be the best fullback in the game. Just wait for it. We get a little foot miss action. Youssef ends up being an 84 and 85. That's gonna be wrapping it up. No pun intended. But he'll definitely be a gift or a present to the FIFA community, at least if you have them. Center backs! Ooh, there are so many options. This is where I feel the conversation can go in many different directions because I'm giving you 5 names. And the reality is, there's an easy top 15 for this position of players that are still overpowered. Difference makers. You don't have a fall off. They don't drop down. They do what they're supposed to do. We'll start with LaBelle, the Frenchman. And there's a lot of French players that I could include for center backs and fullbacks. In fact, if you're building a defense and you're trying to do this with lower rated players, you're trying to do this on a budget, I don't think it gets much better. Good body type. I don't need to talk about the pace. It's pretty obvious why he's here. Last year we saw the inclusion of some of this overpowered emphasis. This year it has started out the same way. Koundé. Similar theme. We're still staying French. Big leagues. La Liga. Links are strong. Lateral movement. Spin cycle, he's got that. There's no doubt, there's no denying. Maybe the one issue or the elephant in the room, he's not the biggest. Maybe 5'10", 5'11", and that's noticeable. But his movement is better. It's improved compared to almost any center back in the game. I'm not just talking about recovery here, but when you're looking at doing some of the jockeying and guessing left or guessing right, anticipation, interception, you're gonna like Koundé. It would be nice after maybe one upgrade again because his physical should go up a tad bit. We're coming in at 79 strength, 75 aggression. If you're playing at the highest level, it's always nice to bump those numbers a little bit. This guy came out of nowhere. Josko Guardio. I'm not sure if I nailed that or not. But at a discard inform price, Leipzig, this is legit. And not only does he have, of course, the pace that stands out in the physical, and even the defending numbers are good to go. And these are real. These are authentic. These are genuine. Maybe I should have him higher. Is he the most overlooked player? And I'm not sure why, but I was going to say his dribbling and his passing, not normal for center backs. Above and beyond. Performs at an upper tier, which makes a big difference for facilitation, having certain levels of composure on the ball, being able to facilitate. I could just keep giving this man so many compliments, and I'm just confused. When I look at the foot item, when I detail it, I've used them in game. Why are people not on this? I realize we have options, but for 10K, this is a steal, especially if you're building out of the Bundesliga. Tomori, and part of this price point is because it's a one to watch. We can see significant upgrades over time if they were to happen. It's probably more likely that it end up with some sort of promo, but it's pretty disgusting. For an 82 overall, the alignment of statistical allocation is made for the meta, or being an overpowered player, and you've got a positive track record, which always makes a difference, and you add in some of the different link-up capabilities and being able to include players in squads and hybrid mix and mash. You get the idea. I can go on and on. The only downside here is that you're paying such a premium, it's hard to recommend him over some of the other players in this same category. I will put that as a disclaimer. I didn't take that into consideration. It's not a value list necessarily. It's more so around rating. And most players, due to rarity, the rating factor makes it where they're much cheaper. But with this being a promo at the beginning of the year, doesn't necessarily follow suit. In fact, not at all. We're back to France. Kimpembe. You knew he had to be here. There's a reason he's holding strong. Just has it. That extra juice. The X factor. And then when you add in that if you can afford to, the Ligue 1's got it going on. Midfielders, attackers, we know all about the Mbappe and Neymar and Messi. But when you see that trio, you know you're in for a long match. The relentless nature of the likes of Mbappe this year is just unstoppable. Just got a new inform. I don't want to see him. I don't want to go up against him in any matchup. He is a one-man counterattack. He can split the defense. He scoops and moves. He pushes it on with a knock-on. Finishes outside of the box, inside of the box. Finesse shot, both feet. This has just become an Mbappe review apparently, but Kimpembe is potentially the most overpowered player. Is there a better 83? Would you put him and Mendy in the same category? Because they are going to link up and they will lock down, shut down, defend well above and beyond. We're not talking about being adequate or satisfactory. No, sir. These guys are in the clouds. They are piloting the plane. That's my list. At least if we're going 5 names in each of these 3 positions. Let me know. Comment section. Agree, disagree. Are you adding new players in? Are you taking players out? Are you reworking, mastering, and maneuvering? I'm here for it. Join the discussion. But as always, I have a lot more content coming out ASAP.